All right, we're getting into the Canterbury Tales proper. We're going to start today with the Partner's Tale. At this point, you should have read through the general prologue, get a sense of that frame story. We get all these pilgrims brought together by circumstance that they're all going to the same place, they're going to travel together, and to pass the time, it's a storytelling contest, right? Each character is going to tell two stories on the way out, two on the way back, and whoever tells the story that is the most entertaining and has the best moral, that person's going to win the contest and get the big feast. All right, so we're going to start with the partner here. And as you'll see as we go through these two tales, Partner's Tale and Wife and Bath's Tale, the character is very specifically chosen to go with the particular tale they tell. The partner, for example, is a member of the church, but he's a total con man. Ironically enough, you would expect a church member to be, honest and upstanding, and looking out to help people. Partner's the exact opposite. He's all about self-interest, super greedy, really all he cares about. And yet his story, the moral is going to be greed is the root of all evil. So keep an eye out for that as you're reading and as I am reading. How does Chaucer set this stuff up? And key in on the irony, not just of the partner being super greedy, telling a story with the moral don't be greedy, but all the multiple layers of irony within the tale itself. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be the focus of your writing assignment at the end. So anyway, story hour. I'm going to read to you just as I would in the classroom. What I'm reading from should be pretty close to the text I attached on the Google Classroom assignment. It's the same translator, so any changes should be subtle. Anyway, we start with the prologue to the Partner's Tale. This is just the partner addressing the group, setting up his story before he gets into the official story. And it goes like this. But let me briefly make my purpose plain. I preach for nothing but for greed of gain, and use the same old text as bold as brass, radit malorm et cupidas, and thus I preach against the very vice I make my living out of, avarice. And yet, however guilty of that sin, myself, with others I have power to win them from it. I can bring them to repent. But that is not my principal intent. Covetousness is both the root and stuff of all I preach. That ought to be enough. All right, so as you can see, this guy is completely shameless. He doesn't care that he's super greedy. In fact, he tells them to their faces, I'm all about greed. And this is one of the stories I tell when I'm trying to warn people not to be greedy. So yeah, irony. Here we go. Well then, I give examples thick and fast from bygone times, old stories from the past. A yokel mind loves stories from of old, being the kind it can repeat and hold. What, do you think, as long as I can preach, and get their silver for the things I teach, that I will live in poverty from choice? That's not the counsel of my inner voice. No, let me preach and beg from kirk to kirk, and never do an honest job of work. No, nor make baskets like St. Paul to gain a livelihood. I do not preach in vain. There's no apostle I would counterfeit. I mean to have money, wool and cheese and wheat, though it were given me by the poorest lad or poorest village widow, though she had a string of starving children all agape. No, let me drink the liquor of the grape and keep a jolly wench in every town. It's like we said, totally shameless. He does not care who he's taking money from. Starving widow with a bunch of kids, don't care. Pay me. And what's he going to do with all the money he gets from these people? Is he going to help the world? Donate it? No. He's going to get booze and he's going to get women. That's it. That is what the partner is all about. It's so totally selfish, self-interested. That's the guy. And completely shameless about it. But listen, gentlemen, to bring things down to a conclusion, would you like a tale? Now, as I've drunk a draught of corn-ripe ale, by God it stands to reason I can strike on some good story that you all will like. For though I am a wholly vicious man, don't think I can't tell moral tales. I can. Here's one I often preach when out for winning. Now please be quiet. Here is the beginning. And now he's about to launch into the tale, right? And this is something that out on the road, this is a story he would use from time to time just to convince people that they're sinful and then they should give him money to absolve them of those sins. Completely shameless. This is a story I use because it's easy to understand and most people are dumb. And I'm going to take advantage of them. And this is a story that is really effective in doing that. So yeah, here's the tale. In Flanders once there was a company of youngsters haunting vice and revelry, riot and gambling, stews in public houses, where each with harp, guitar, or lute carouses, dancing and dicing day and night, and bold to eat and drink far more than they can hold, doing thereby the devil's sacrifice, within that devil's temple of cursed vice. abominable in superfluity, with oaths so damnable in blasphemy, that it's a grisly thing to hear them swear, our dear Lord's body they will rend and tear. It's of 3 rioters I have to tell, who long before the morning service bell were sitting in a tavern for a drink. Alright, so we open the story, we're at a bar, it's the morning, and we've got these 3 drunks. These are our 3 main characters, so keep an eye on the 3 drunks. And we establish at the very beginning of the story that they are gambling. Why do you gamble? Because you want to get money, right? Greed. Dancing and dicing day and night. Again, dicing, you're gambling. Dancing, you're just hanging out. To eat and drink far more than they can hold, right? Gluttony. And you're dancing because you want to meet a nice special someone. You got some lust there. So we established at the very beginning of the tale that these are super sinful guys as they're hitting on some of these 7 deadly sins. You've got gluttony, you've got lust, you've got greed. They're at a bar in the morning. They're certainly not doing anything productive with their lives. So you get sloth in there as well. We'll see wrath as we move through the tale. So they're just super sinful dudes. As we open the tale, these are our 3 main characters. Here we go. Long before the morning service bell, we're sitting in a tavern for a drink. And as they sat, they heard the handbell clink before a coffin going to the grave. One of them called to the little tavern knave and said, "Go and find out at once, look spry. His corpse is in that coffin passing by. And see you get the name correctly, too." They're drunk. "Sit," said the boy. "No need, I promise you. 2 hours before you came here, I was told he was a friend of yours in days of old. And suddenly, last night, the man was slain upon his bench, face up, dead drunk again. There came a privy thief, they call him Death, who kills us all around here. And in a breath, he speared him through the heart. He never stirred. And then Death went his way without a word. He's killed 1,000 in the present plague. And, sir, it doesn't do to be too vague. If you should meet him, you had best be wary. Be on your guard with such an adversary. Be primed to meet him everywhere you go. That's what my mother said. It's all I know." So the 3 drunks are just hanging out, throwing them back in the bar early in the morning, and they see this coffin going by. So they ask the guy, "Hey, who died?" Turns out it's one of their friends. He was out drinking and just fell over dead. We talked about death, right? We capitalized the D in death, personification. So it's not just this abstract concept, end of life, but it's a figure, right? A looming figure who you never know where he's going to turn up, which makes perfect sense in the context of the Canterbury Tales because we're dealing with the Black Plague, right? So makes sense that they would conceptualize death as an individual who could be lurking around any corner because with plague, you never know who's going to drop next. We continue. The publican joined in with, "By St. Mary, what the child says is right. You'd best be wary. This very year he killed in a large village, a mile away, man, woman, serf at tillage. Page and the household children, all there were. Yes, I imagine that he lives round there. It's well to be prepared in these alarms. He might do you dishonor." "God's arms," the rioter said. "Is he so fierce to me? I'll search for him, by Jesus, street by street. God's blessed bones, I'll register a vow. Here, chaps, the 3 of us together now. Hold up your hands like me, and we'll be brothers in this affair, and each defend the others. And we will kill this traitor Death, I say. Away with him, as he has made away with all our friends. God's dignity." Tonight. Okay, so fantastic drunken logic here. Your friend has died. The only logical response is to hunt down and kill Death. And that is what these 3 drunks are going to do. They're now on a quest to find and kill Death. Drunken logic at its finest. They made their bargain, swore with appetite, these 3 to live and die for one another, as brother born might swear to his born brother. And up they started in their drunken rage, and made towards this village which the page and publican had spoken of before. Many and grisly were the oaths they swore, tearing Christ's blessed body to a shred. If we can only catch him, Death is dead. They made their bargain, swore with appetite, these 3. Oh, damn, I already read that. Death is dead. When they had gone not fully half a mile, just as they were about to cross a stile, they came upon a very poor old man, who humbly greeted them, and thus began, "God look to you, my lords, and give you quiet." To which the proudest of these men of riot gave back the answer, "What? Oh, fool, give place. Why are you so wrapped up, except your face? Why live so long? Is it time to die? So the three drunks, as they hunt down death, meet this old guy on the road, all cloaked up, just a little shriveled old man. And he basically says to him, hey, meatheads, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. Settle down. To which they respond, dude, you're so old. How have you not died yet? Classy guys, of course. And so the old man then responds. The old fellow looked him in the eye and said, because I never yet have found, though I have walked to India searching round, village and city on my pilgrimage, one who would change his youth to have my age, and so my age is mine and must be still, upon me for such time as God may will. Not even death, alas, will take my life, so like a wretched prisoner at strife within himself, I walk alone and wait about the earth, which is my mother's gate, knocking with my staff from night to noon, and crying, Mother, open to me soon. Look at me, mother, won't you let me in? See how I wither, flesh and blood and skin. Alas, when will these bones be laid to rest? Technical difficulties, I'm back. Not even death, alas, will take my life. So like a wretched prisoner at strife within himself, I walk alone and wait about the earth, which is my mother's gate, knocking with my staff from night to noon, and crying, Mother, open to me soon. Look at me, mother, won't you let me in? See how I wither, flesh and blood and skin. Alas, when will these bones be laid to rest? Mother, I would exchange, for that were best, the wardrobe in my chamber standing there, so long for yours, I for a shirt of hair to wrap me in. She has refused her grace, whence comes the pallor of my withered face. So, why hasn't the old guy died? He doesn't know. He wants to. He's traveled all over. He's wandered the earth. All he wants to do is die. He's begging, Earth, just swallow me up. I'm tired. I'm old. Just let me die. Instead, all we're left with is this figure, all cloaked up, with a super pale, ghastly face. File that one away. But it dishonored you when you began to speak so roughly, sir, to an old man. Unless he had injured you in word or deed, it says in Holy Writ, as you may read, Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head and honor it. And therefore, be it said, do no more harm to an old man than you, being now young, would have another do when you are old, if you should live till then. And so may God be with you, gentlemen, for I must go whither I have to go. So he provides the message. Good tip. Hey guys, respect the elderly, so that once you are that old, if you should get there, hopefully people will respect you in return. Interesting that he suggests if you get to old age. Thoughts there? Could be foreshadowing. I mean, drunks often get into accidents, hurt themselves. Long-term drinking could lead to an early death. Just file that away. Maybe these guys are not long for the earth, as the old man in the cloak would suggest. Let's carry on. By God, the gambler said, you shan't do so. You didn't get off so easy by St. John. I heard you mention just a moment gone a certain traitor death who singles out and kills the fine young fellows hereabout. And you're a spy. By God, you wait a bit. See where he is, or you shall pay for it. By God, and by the Holy Sacrament, I say you've joined together by consent to kill this younger folk, ye thieving swine. Well, sirs, he said, if it be your design to find out death, turn up this crooked way towards that grove. I left him there today under a tree, and there you'll find him waiting. He isn't one to hide for all your prating. You see that oak? He won't be far to find, and God protect you that redeem mankind. Aye, and amend you. Thus that ancient man. So they say to the old guy, hey, old guy, you know death? Where's death? Can tell us. We're looking for him. We're going to kill him. So the old guy says, if you're looking for death, right over there. Check under the tree. That's where I last saw death. You'll find him over there. Just look under the tree. So the old man has directed them to this tree, and beneath it, that is where they will find death, so they can avenge their friend, kill death, and the end. Let's see how it goes. At once the three young riders began to run, and reached the tree, and there they found a pile of golden florins on the ground. New coin, 8 bushels of them, as they thought. No longer was it death, those fellows thought, for they were all so thrilled to see the sight. The florins were so beautiful and bright, that down they sat beside the precious pile. The wickedest spoke first after a while. Brothers, he said, you listen to what I say. I'm pretty sharp, although I joke away. It's clear that fortune has bestowed this treasure, to let us live in jollity and pleasure. Like come, like go, we'll spend it as we ought. God's precious dignity. Who would have thought this morning was to be our lucky day? All right. Just wondering. We capitalize the F in fortune, right? Again, as if fortune is an individual who bestows good luck and prosperity onto people. These three guys, these drunks who have hit on lust, greed, sloth, and wrath as deadly sins, these seem like the guys that God would smile upon and bestow with all sorts of riches. Who knows? But they found all this gold under a tree, and they seem pretty excited about it. It's their lucky day. If one could only... Oh, excuse me, drunk voice. If one could only get the gold away back to my house, or else yours, perhaps. For as you know, the gold is ours, chaps. We'd all be at the top of fortune. Hey, but certainly it can't be done by day. People will call us robbers, a strong gang, so our own prosperity will make us hang. Now we must bring this treasure back by night, some prudent way, and keep it out of sight. And so, as a solution I propose, we draw for lot to see the way it goes. The one who draws the longest, lucky man, shall ride to town as quickly as he can, to fetch his bread and wine, but keep things dark, while two remain in hiding here to mark our heap of treasure. If there's no delay, when night comes down, we'll carry it away, all three of us, wherever we have planned. So, the drunks do realize that they can't just take the gold right now. Three drunken stumblebums pushing wheelbarrows of gold down the street. Someone's going to ask questions, and it's not going to go well for them. Instead, they're going to wait till the cover of darkness. All right? One of them is going to go out and collect supplies, and then they'll just hang out, drinking all day. And then, under the cover of darkness, then they can load up the gold and take it back, and woohoo, we're rich. So, that's the plan. Let's see how it goes. He gathered lots and hit them in his hand, bidding them draw for where the luck should fall. It fell upon the youngest of them all, and off he ran at once toward the town. As soon as he had gone, the first sat down, and thus began a parley with the other. You know that you can trust me as a brother. Now let me tell you where your profit lies. You are a friend who's got to get supplies, and here's a lot of gold that is to be divided equally among us three. Nevertheless, if I could shape things thus, that we shared it out of the two of us, would you take it as a friendly act? So, now we've got the two plotting against the third, who has gone off to get supplies. These are the brothers, right? United in their pact to kill death. And now, as soon as there's gold involved, suddenly that pact is not as strong. The loyalty seems to have disappeared. But how? The other said. He knows the fact that all the gold was left with me and you. What can we tell him? What are we to do? Is it a bargain? Said the first. Or no? For I can tell you in a word or so what's to be done to bring the thing about. Trust me, the other said. You needn't doubt my word. I won't betray you. I'll be true. Which you should totally believe from a guy who is plotting with you to kill your friend. Totally trust that guy. Why not? Well, said his friend, you'll see that we are two, and two are twice as powerful as one. Now look, when he comes back, get up in fun to have a wrestle. Then, as you attack, I'll put my dagger through his back. While you and he are struggling as in game, then draw your dagger too and do the same. Then all this money will be ours to spend. Divided equally, of course, dear friend. Then we can gratify our lusts and fill the day with dicing in our own sweet will. Thus, these two miscreants agreed to slay the third and youngest, as you heard me say. So, this is the plan. Alright, third guy is off getting supplies. When he gets back, these two, hey man, let's wrestle. While they're wrestling, the third guy stabs him in the back, stab, stab, stabby, stab, stab, and then we can split the gold 2 ways instead of 3, cock-a-doodle profit, and everybody's just a little bit richer. All it takes is one dead friend. So, this is the plan. The youngest, as he ran towards the town, kept turning over, rolling up and down within his heart the beauty of those bright new florins, saying, Lord, to think I might have all that treasure to myself alone. Could there be anyone beneath the throne of God so happy as I then should be? Again, does this seem like the kind of person to be sitting at the right hand of God? Probably not. And so the fiend, our common enemy, was given power to put it in his thought. that there was always poison to be bought, and that with poison he could kill his friends. To men in such a state the devil sends thoughts of this kind, and has a full permission to lure them on to sorrow and perdition. For this young man was utterly content to kill them both, and never to repent. Ironically enough, everyone's planning to kill everybody else. The two are planning to kill the one. Meanwhile, the one is planning to kill the two. Again, greed has taken over, and if I gotta kill to get a little bit richer, so be it. And on he ran, and had no thought to tarry. Came to the town, found an apothecary, and said, "Sell me some poison, if you will. I have a lot of rats that I want to kill. And there's a polecat, too, about my yard that takes my chicken and hits me hard. But I'll get even, as is only right, with vermin that destroy a man by night." Oh, the irony. These two guys are planning to kill their friend under the cover of darkness. And how is he going to deal with the vermin that destroy a man by night? He's going to poison them. All right. Is he literally killing rats? No, so we got some verbal irony there, saying one thing, meaning another. Are his friends acting like rats? Yeah, so it still works. But you add in that element of verbal irony there. The chemist answered, "I have a preparation which you shall have, and by my soul's salvation, if any living creature eat or drink a mouthful, ere he has the time to think, though he took less than makes a grain of wheat, you'll see him fall down dying at your feet. Yes, die he must, and in so short a while, you'd hardly have the time to walk a mile. The poison is so strong, you understand." This cursed fellow grabbed into his hand the box of poison, and away he ran into a neighboring street, and found a man who lent him 3 large bottles. He withdrew and deftly poured the poison into 2. He kept the third one clean as well he might, for his own drink, meaning to work all night, stacking the gold and carrying it away. And when this rioter, this devil's clay, had filled his bottles up with wine all 3, back to rejoin his comrades sauntered he. We call this guy the devil's clay, right? Talking about how we've got the fiend, the common enemy, was given power to put in his thought that there was always poison to be bought. Kind of the idea of the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other. The devil, kill your friends, take the gold, you know you want to. So we look at him as being this devil's clay. He's just being manipulated. Ultimately, he's still making the calls. Why make a sermon of it? Why waste breath? Exactly in the way they planned his death, they fell on him and slew him 2 to 1. Then said the first of them when this was done, "Now for a drink, sit down and let's be merry, for later on there'll be the corpse to bury." And as it happened, reaching for a sup, he took a bottle full of poison up, and drank, and his companion, nothing loath, drank from it also, and they perished both. There is in Avicenna's long relation concerning poison and its operation. Trust me, no ghastlier section to transcend what these 2 wretches suffered at their end. Thus these 2 murderers received their due. So did the treacherous young poisoners too. End of story. Though there are some concluding remarks I'll get to in a second. So talking about irony in the story, right? What are these guys looking for? What's their quest? They want to find death. What do they find at the end? Oh, ironically enough, death. Just not the way they were looking for it, as they all die. All right. The moral. Love of money, greed is the root of all evil, right? Tale seems to work that way. It's the greed that overcomes them, turns them against their friends, and ultimately leads to everyone's death. And who led them to find the gold, which led to their death? This cloaked up old man on the road. I wonder what that cloaked up old man could represent. What concept have we personified in this story? Yeah, obviously the old man represents death. He looks like the Grim Reaper, all pale face, cloaked up. And so as the old man is death, he points them to the tree where they will eventually find death, and that they all die under that tree. Add a layer of irony. They're looking for death. They meet him on the road, insult him, and certainly do not realize that what they've been looking for is right there in front of them. So irony all over the place. And now, let's wrap it all up. One thing, this is now the partner speaking to the group. One thing I should have mentioned in my tale. Dear people, I've some relics in my bail, and pardons too, as full and fine, I hope, as any in England given me by the Pope. If there be one among you that is willing to have my absolution for a shilling, devoutly given, come, and do not harden your hearts, but kneel in humbleness for pardon. Or else receive my pardon as we go. You can renew it every town or so. And always provided that you still renew each time, and in good money what is due, It is an honor to you to have found a partner with his credentials sound, who can absolve you as you ply the spur, in any accident that may occur. For instance, we are all at fortune's beck. Your horse may throw you down and break your neck. What a security it is to all to have me here among you and at call, with pardon for the lowly and the great, when soul leaves body for the future state. The message is, greed is the root of all evil. And as the last word of his story is still hanging in the air, what does the partner do? Launches right into a sales pitch. So ironically enough, the partner, as soon as he's finished preaching, greed's the root of all evil, launches into his greedy pitch, which is basically, you guys are sinful, you're going to keep committing sins. Luckily, I am here. I can sell you those pardons and absolve you of your sins so that you don't, burn in eternal hellfire. And you never know. You want to keep your soul cleared, keep buying those pardons, because who knows when an accident could happen. You get tossed off your horse, and then you're dead. So, buy the pardons, you'll be good to go. And then, you sin again that night? Well, I'll still be there the next morning. The cycle continues. This is the partner, this is what he's all about, and this is the greed that he shows despite his preaching against it. And I advise our host here to begin, the most enveloped of you all in sin. Come forward, host, you shall be the first to pay, and kiss my holy relics right away. Only a groat, come on, unbuckle your purse. No, no, said he, not I, and may the curse of Christ descend upon me if I do. Right? Just like the way he calls out the host. You look like the most sinful guy, you pay me first. Obviously, the host doesn't like this, takes exception with it, and things get a little tense. The pardoner said nothing, not a word. He was so angry that he couldn't speak. Well, said her host, if you're for showing pique, I'll joke no more, not with an angry man. The worthy knight immediately began, seeing the fun was getting rather rough, and said, No more, we've all had quite enough. Now, master partner, perk up and look cheerly, and you, sir host, whom I esteem so dearly, I beg of you to kiss the partner. Come, partner, draw near, my dear sir, let's laugh and keep the ball in play. They kissed, and we continued on our way. Luckily, the knight is there, the good, honorable, and noble knight. He makes the peace, partner and host kiss, make up, and then the tales go on. We'll get to Wife About's tale next week. If you have any questions, ask. Shoot me a message in Google Classroom. Pop into office hours this week. Whatever you need, just let me know.